Here, top 100 financial advisor, two-time author, one-time bestseller, and I am not angry, passionate, and protective of you guys. So we need to talk about airline stocks. And there's a lot going on. A lot of people have made some mistakes and are going to make some very, very bad mistakes in the next few days. So go ahead, press the share button. You really want to share this. Save this video. You need to come back and reference it. So go ahead and do that. I'm going to share on my phone as well. I'll also be monitoring the comments. If you have any questions, thoughts, concerns, so on and so forth. So I am going to scroll and share now. You should do the same because you're going to see people talk about this week, even though I've been talking about it since last month. So we're going to get to that in just a second. So I'm going to go and share here. And again, any questions, comments, throw those into the chat and I will address them as we go along. All right. So here we go. Volume down. There we go. And share. There we go. Right. Post. There we go. All right. So we're done. Okay. So here is the thing. So first off, as you guys know, this coming Wednesday, I'm doing a session with Mind Over Money on how to build up your wealth from the bottom up. I'm going to give you some stocks that can help you create generational wealth and avoid some cost mistakes and costly legacy mistakes. So we will get to that. But first, we got to talk about airline stocks because I've been telling you guys to avoid the airline stocks since about April 6th or so. And if you've been on my email list, you know that I've been talking about how and why you should avoid the airline industry. There are a few reasons. Number one, airline stocks have not done all that well since about 2007. That's just across the board. Now, I think there were a few stocks that were exceptional or that beat that rule, but that's not every stock out there. So I want to break that down. I want to show you the proof that I've been on record. There was a video, I think, on April 8th. There was an email. Well, we'll see here. So this is on the Facebook page. I reshared this. If you've been on the email list and you didn't put me in the spam category, you would have gotten this back on April 6th. The reason why airline stocks tanked today, some, I think American and Delta went down 12%. Others were down 8% in just a single day. This happened because Warren Buffett, the world's fourth richest man and one of the most famous investors of all time, dumped all of his airline stocks on like Friday. And he announced it, I think, like Friday or Saturday. So now regular people say, oh my God, if he dumped everything in the airline industry, he does not think it's going to go well. I need to get out of it too. So that's why people are selling out. But look at here. On April 6th, this is a screenshot from the email. I send the email to myself, so I make sure that you guys get it as well, which you should sign up for, buildingbread.com/free. You can see here, I had JetBlue from July 2018 to 2019. I said, all right, that's it. I'm cashing out. I got my money. I'm rolling out. Now, I didn't know that the virus was going to hit and hit airline stocks very hard. So I got lucky in the sense that I got out in time. But this is why I tell you guys to always evaluate your investments at least twice a year. And no more, at least once a year, but like twice a year is good. 4 times a year is good as well. You don't want to go past that. So I evaluate every single December. I said, okay, well, I got what I need to get out of the stock. It's not doing what I needed to do, but I got a profit and I left. I didn't have to stay married to that stock forever. I got out at the right time. All right. So if I stayed in it, I would have lost 70% of my money. If you look down here, quote from April 6th, the quote is Warren Buffett, the fourth richest man, sold 70 billion. He sold 70 billion in, I'm sorry, down here, he's worth 70 billion. He sold 314 million in Delta, 74 in Southwest Airlines back in April. The signs of this were back in April. Not now, April. A month later, people are like, oh my God, like, what did he do? Why is he doing this? Bro, I told you about this. I told you about this already. And the thing that frustrates me sometimes about those who aren't here are that people say, I don't want to lose money in the stock market. I don't want to make bad decisions. I don't want to make ill-advised decisions. I want to be smarter about where I put my money. Well, the smart thing about your money is to understand what's going on with the market before you jump into it. People are saying that, well, the government is not going to let these airlines fail. That's fine. It doesn't mean that they're going to flourish. you can just live and be an average to terrible stock. You didn't fail, but you also haven't succeeded. You can be a D student or a C student and graduate. Okay, doesn't really mean anything. So just because they can stimulate the economy a little bit, they can let the stock survive or let the company survive, it does not mean it's going to pop and make you wealthy in the future. So I wanted to bring in some additional proof for that. So I just tweeted this out not too long ago. So which one of these stocks? You've got American, Delta, JetBlue, Southwest, Spirit, and United Airlines. Which one of them beat the S&P 500 since 2007? Now, this is 13 years because there are people telling me they're going to buy low and just hold it for the long term and let the economy do what it does, and these stocks are going to grow. So we went back 13 years. Now, the other thing that I did, and I chose 2007 for a reason, is because we think and we say that it's going to bounce back like it did in 2007. So let's see. Which one of them beat the S&P 500? For those who don't know, the S&P 500 is the 500 largest companies. It's the index. That's the average. If you do better than that, you're good. If you do just that, that's okay. You do under that, you might as well have did something else with your money. So which one of them, or a combination of them, do you think? Let me know in the comments. Which one do you think did the best? Which one do you think did the best? Which one do you think beat the market? I don't want you guys to cheat, so I'm gonna hide over here for a second because I noticed it was at the bottom. So which one of those stocks out of Southwest, United, Spirit, already said Southwest, said United, Delta, which of those stocks do you think beat the S&P 500 since 2007? Because we all keep saying it's gonna come back, it's gonna bounce back. We're gonna find out. So we're gonna find out. So I'm waiting to see if you guys have any comments on which one of those has done the best since 2007. So I'm gonna wait for a second. I know it's a little bit of a lag for whatever reason. So let me know. Take your best guess because people are buying these now. So you've got American, Southwest, Delta, Spirit. I'm trying to do this from memory. JetBlue was one that I didn't mention earlier, but they were on the list, and United. All right, so we got a few answers, and the answer was 0, none. Not a single one beat the S&P 500 since 2007. We say, or people say, oh, it's going to come back. It's going to bounce back because it does that after every recession. No, it has not. And that's not how the airline industry works. Now, some other stocks do work that way. The economy as a whole works that way. The airline industry does not work that way. In 2011, it took years before these stocks came back. In 2007, it took years for these stocks to come back, and some of them still haven't. Some of them still haven't. Now, if you scroll up, you guys said 0, none of them, not a single one beat the S&P 500. American Airlines, since 2007, not this year, 2007, down 78%. Delta, down 7. That's not bad. And given what we know now, well, actually, for 13 years, it is pretty bad, actually. So I'll take that back. Delta, down 7%. JetBlue, down 35. Spirit, down 78. Southwest is actually up since 2007, up 87%. Now, that's not bad. That's actually not that bad. And then you got United Airlines down 33%. You scroll up, the S&P 500 has been up 99% though. So it's always like, okay, well, it did 87. What did the overall stock market do? So I still would have beaten even Southwest Airlines with the S&P 500. Now, the asterisk there is that Southwest had been doing way better than the market up until like the last 6 or 7 months. Once the Corona thing hit, that's where the asterisk is. So if I had to invest in any of them, which I'm not going to invest in any of them, but if I had to, I'm probably going to go to Southwest. But the thing is, not every airline is the same. People just jump into whatever is the cheapest stock here, which, and I'm guessing on this, is probably Spirit or American. And this is just a guess, just looking at them. Probably Spirit or American is probably one of the cheapest. JetBlue could be probably pretty cheap too. And people just jump into it. It's an airline. It's going to go up. The government is not going to let them fail. That's fine. It cannot fail and still be lame. It cannot fail and still not flourish. They stepped in 2007, didn't they? They stepped in 2008, didn't they? And a lot of these airlines, they didn't fail, but they didn't do nothing either. So you know, share, tag your friends, your family, whomever who you know are looking to get in on these cheap stocks and hope that they can hold on for the long term. And this is not to say that these stocks won't improve over the next 10 years. They might. But the question is it going to improve better than what we already see in from the overall stock market? Is it going to do better than the S&P 500? Yes or no? Is it going to do better than some of the stocks that are making money right now? The Krogers, the Costco's, the Walmarts. You know, I can go on to the Amazons and the Teslas and the Netflix. That's a whole different category. But will it do better than the overall stock market? History tells us that it probably won't. And then we also know, just basic common sense, that people don't travel for usually 18 months, sometimes 2 years, in the way that they used to after pandemics and after big crises. We've seen this story before. You know, you were there. I was there. 2007, 2008, when people were losing jobs left and right. Once things were over, it wasn't let me just hop on the first flight. After 9/11, it definitely wasn't let me hop on the next flight. Everyone just like, look, I'm just gonna drive until I feel better about this thing. So the country in some parts is opening up. That's fine. That doesn't mean that everything's gonna be fine and that these stocks are going to just automatically repair themselves and get back to where they were. And even if they did, even if these stocks got back to where they were, they still weren't great. Other than Southwest. Southwest is the only one that that is the shining star. Even if they went back to before coronavirus, American, Delta, Spirit, and United weren't amazing stocks. I think JetBlue had been pretty good for just a little stint from like 2016 to 2019. They were pretty good. But the rest of them, that people say they don't want to lose money. People say they want to build generational wealth, but they don't actually do the research to do it. And this is not difficult research. You guys don't see any charts. You guys don't have anything difficult to do here. It's like, hey, how was the stock done since the last time we had an issue? That's all it took. And the other thing too is, like I've told you guys before, Buffett didn't like these stocks, so he pulled out, and he's been on the record. Which again, I did an entire video on this. I think it was on April 8th. So go to the video section, scroll back. I'm wearing a black shirt and I think a blue hat. So black shirt, blue hat. Scroll up and watch the video. I said back then that he was a little iffy. If you Google Warren Buffett and airlines, other than today's story, you're going to start to read a bunch of stories about how he had been iffy about the airline industry because it's hard to make money in airlines. That's why the stocks don't do as well. It's expensive for fuel, expensive for staff, expensive for maintenance all the time. You have to keep those things up, even if you aren't taking flights. The entire airline industry down 95% when it comes to traffic and people traveling. I put airlines in the same category as a lot of the cruise lines. Until they prove different, it doesn't make any sense for people to jump into them just because they're cheap. Again, not all airlines are the same. But why put my money into an airline? Why put my money into a place that has a history of not doing all that great before the virus when I can put it in things that are doing well right now? So I put out a watch list. You guys have seen that. If you're in some of my courses, I just updated my list for this month. I think on May 1st. So if you guys are looking for stocks now and you're in the course, go check it out and you can see that there. So those give you some ideas of what to do right now. But no one likes to lose money. You can't eliminate your risk to absolute zero. So I'm not here to tell you there's no way you'll ever lose money in the market ever. That's not the truth. But you can reduce your chances of losing money. There's a high chance you buy an airline stock, especially now, or if you bought one last month, you probably lost money in it. If you were listening and you've been here for the last month, 2 months, things like Costco, Kroger, Walmart, Procter & Gamble, stuff we've been talking about here have actually been up this year and have been up over the last few months. So why hope that the government's going to step in and save this stock, which doesn't guarantee that it's going to go up or going to survive or thrive, than just going with things that are making money right now? The two things don't make sense. So you as someone who's been here and people who share, click the share button, are going to do better than those who just have no clue. And I want to make sure my job as a top 100 financial advisor and people and someone who teaches thousands of people every week, I want to make sure that you're in the best position possible because what you're trying to do is A, grow your money. You're trying to reduce the chances of losing money and just, if it's 50%, let's get it down to 10. Let's get it down to 5. Let's get down to 15. Right. And then some of us are trying to build a legacy for those who are coming behind us. What I'm trying to do is make sure that my son is off than I was. So for me to do that, I need to make sure that I'm buying stocks that make sense for him and buying stocks that are going to be good in the next 10, 15, 20 years. And if you've been on the Twitter pages and Instagram, you may have heard me say this before, but I'm planning right now in 2020 for the year 2085. So when he is 65, how much can I do now to ensure that he's going to be a millionaire before he's 65? Now I can do that because I started early. I can do that because I'm only putting in $100 a month and it's less expensive. If I wait until he's 35 or if he waits until he's 35 or he waits until he's 25, he's going to have to put in $500 or $1,000 to become a millionaire by 65. And if once he's, 10, 15, he cuts yards or does whatever it is he does, he can start to put in $100 a month. And with the right investments, he's going to grow his wealth significantly. So when he's my age, when he's 30, when he's 35, he'll have $700,000-$800,000 sitting at 30, as opposed to getting that at the very, very, very end. But the only way you do it is A, start early, B, be consistent, but C, be smart about the choices that you make and be as smart as possible. So I'm not going to sit here and say, hey, son, I'm going to go. I think the airline industry is going to be the spot. Airline is going to make sure that they don't fail. They guarantee that they're going to flourish. So I wouldn't put my son's future in JetBlue, or rather, because JetBlue had been decent until now. I'm not going to put it in American. I'm not going to put it in Spirit. I'm not going to put it in United. I'm going to put in things that I know are working right now and regularly check up on those and switch those out if things change. So for those who are looking to build generational wealth, again, I'm going to give you guys a list of 6 options to choose from to build generational wealth. On Wednesday session is buildingbread.com/wealth. You can get tickets on this page. The link is above. Take early bird tickets. I think we still have a few left. Those are only $25, just $25. It's me and Tremaine Wills from Mind Over Money. She's going to talk about the psychology of money, how to make sure that you have enough money to invest. I'm going to show you where to and how to help you build wealth. Even if you feel like you don't have a whole bunch to spend, I'm going to make sure that you can build wealth for you, your family, and you can have a plan for 2085 as well. So register today. If you can't make it for some reason, you're busy, I understand, you will get a recording for it. For those who register, do not email me on Friday and say, hey, where's the recording? I didn't register. I don't know if I can help you. So I'm going to make sure you register now, especially while tickets are $25, because once the early bird ones sell out, the tickets will likely go up. I think it's like $35 or something here. So buildingbread.com/wealth. I'm going to answer the questions that we have. I see a few. And then let me know if you guys have any other questions or comments. So question number 1 from Mr. Cameron Wilder. But why not buy if it's low-hanging fruit, especially cruise ships like Carnival? $13 right now. But I'm 2 years and if it's worth $50 a share, it's worth the wait. That's a great question. The problem is if it's not low, it can be low and it can stay low. There's no point, like for 2 years, for you to go from 13 to 50, that's a big if. So that's number one, that's a big if, because it may take 5, 6, or 7 years for you to get that. So that's going to spread out what you think your average returns are going to be. So that's number 1. Number 2, over those 2 years, what else could you have invested in that could have grown your money even further than that? So like, for example, in 2007, right, American Airlines was low. Everything was low. It was the Great Recession. So American Airlines was low. Delta was low. Spirit was low. Every stock on this list was low in 2007. If you bought it for 13 now, you still would have lost money 13 years after the fact. So that it just doesn't really, the math doesn't really add up. So that's number 1. The other part of it is, so what if it's cheap? Like I can buy Amazon for $13 because I can use fractional shares. So that the part of buying it low doesn't really is not really as appeasing to me or to most people. So we hope and we guess that if I can buy a cruise line for 13, that's going to go to 50. We have no evidence that it will ever go to 50 because before the coronavirus, those stocks hadn't done well before then. So why all of a sudden, just because it's at 13, that it will magically, for whatever reason, go all the way to 50? We don't know that. It has that to be true. And while we're waiting 2, 3, 4, 5 years, stocks like Amazon are killing it. Stocks like Costco are killing it. Stocks like Walmart are doing well over that time. So you can wait 2 years and hope that it does that, or you can invest in things that are making you money today and tomorrow and the day after that and be well past 65 or 70 by investing the same $13. Yeah, you could just buy an index fund instead of buying Carnival. Again, the evidence shows that you would have been better off. And in fact, I'm going to do this now just because I like the comparison. So someone else asked option trading. I figured out how to do it over the weekend. What's your opinion? I do like option trading. It's not for everyone. Be dependent. There are thousands and thousands of strategies on how to trade options. Work, some don't. So I think generally option trading is down, and that's great. But again, it's a lot more difficult, and it all depends on how you do it. So generally, yeah, if you follow me on Twitter, if you're a beginner and you haven't been investing for at least, in my opinion, 5 to 7 years, you want to go there. But if you're experienced and you're ready to take that risk, then go for it. There's money to be had in options, but it is for everyone, which is why I don't teach it here on this page. Thoughts? I bought was 95 a share. So again, I think every stock is different. I think Boeing has a better potential than a lot of those airlines, especially the cruise lines, because we have history that shows us that Boeing, up until the whole crash scenario, Boeing was on fire. Boeing was like $300 and something a share. Now 150 or so last time I checked. I think Boeing is in a better position again than Carnival. Not the best in the world. If I had to pick between these airline stocks, these cruise line stocks, Boeing and Southwest, if I had, that's just opinion there. All right, so this is, what is this? This is Carnival Cruise. I got my phone in the way. Okay, so this is Carnival Cruise. This is Yahoo Finance. It shows it's up almost 3% today. That's cool. So what I'm going to do is see Carnival Cruise over the last, let's say, 5 years. How well has it done compared to the market? Because again, as someone else said, and I've mentioned before, I can just get an index fund and just ride it out there if, over the next 5 years and see what. As index funds do better most of the time. It's going to be difficult for you to like invest, hope it goes to 50 and then get out. Right, it can happen, but anything can happen. We're looking at what is evidence the most likely scenario. So it's taking a bit longer to load. That's fine. So this is showing me from 2007. If you look here in the corner to the 2020. So I'm gonna leave it there. I'm gonna just leave it there instead of doing all the changes. So we're going to cut out the rest of these because it's going to be a lot of lines, and that's going to be very confusing to most people. And hopefully this loads the way I want it to. It's also why I don't like doing this on stream, because it's very, very iffy from time to time. But it's some of the things that I teach in my course as well. So let's see if this is going to let me cancel. There we go. All right, we're going to cancel that, cancel that. All right, so what we're doing is comparing what cruise lines have done since 2007. So we're going to compare apples to apples, right? Say cancel. What Carnival Cruise Lines has done since 2007, the same way we did for the airlines. And you can see here, the pink is the S&P 500. Since 2007, as you on the left-hand side, haven't done that well. You could have made 96% living in the S&P 500 and doing nothing, or you could have lost 73% in Carnival Cruise. You can see here that for maybe this little time that this stock was better than the S&P 500. So if it hasn't been great, it hasn't beaten the stock market in 13 years, why all of a sudden would it magically come up and beat the stock market now? And also, the way I'm looking at it, if it went up 70%, it's still 500 because you're going to be right back at zero. So could it bounce back? Could it have a bounce? Yes. The always is, will it bounce back more than the overall stock market? Because if Carnival Cruise bounces, cool. Probably the entire counts too. So which one is going to bounce higher? From what I see, the stock market, the S&P 500, these index funds are going to bounce. I mean, you can look at it. So the other thing too is where are the odds at? So what is the chance that is going to 50? Even if it does, if this hits 50, then the overall stock market is 50, right? Again, this kind of tells us everything. You can see here that the S&P 500 already hit that bounce. Carnival Cruise down here at the very, very bottom hasn't really bounced in the way that. So again, we can all make our own decisions. That's up to y'all. But people tell me all the time, I survey every year. I read my emails at y'all. I read the DMs, all that stuff you guys send me. It's like, I really want to protect myself. I don't want to lose any, but I do want to grow my money. I do want to invest. I'm trying to give you the best options to do that. And there's no, just because something is low does not mean that there's a bounce or there's even supposed to be a bounce. Will it be at 15 or 14 forever? No. Go to 20, and that's cool. But other things are lapping Carnival Cruises left and right every single day, right now and in the future. At what point has Carnival Cruise ever been one of the best stocks in the market? I don't know. We all saw the chart. The answer is no. When has any of those airline stocks been better than the overall market? You could say at some point Southwest, yes. There are some tiny segments where you could say JetBlue. I would say yes. Delta, American, United, no. There's at no point were those like the hottest stocks or some of the best stocks out there. They never were. Why would they be? And just because they're low doesn't mean it's going to bounce. So again, hey, look, it's going to, it's not going to fail. That's fine. You don't have to fail to flourish. That it's a bunch of times I got extra credit. I didn't get an A, but I didn't fail the class either. That didn't make so those are things that you want to look forward to. My job is to help y'all to make better decisions when it comes to the market. Time will tell. I am no magician. I am not perfect. Now I ain't stupid either. So you guys have seen when I told you guys about Microsoft. I told you guys about Netflix. Told you guys about Costco. All of those have to be right. So I don't think they're going to be down forever, but when they come up, I don't think they're going to beat the overall market. And that is my entire case. So again, thank you guys for coming out. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate sharing. Make sure that you share this video with your peoples. And then make sure that you guys register for the event. It will be on Wednesday. It is a one-time thing. Show you guys how to build generational wealth. Show you how, give you some ideas on what stocks may make sense for the next generation, and show you how to avoid some legacy mistakes that I have seen people make personally. As an advisor, I've seen some really unfortunate stories, and I've seen some great stories too about how people made moves when their kids were young, how people protected their wealth, passed on their assets, passed on their house, their stock in the right way. There's a right way and there's a wrong way. Where, let's say, if you had $1 million, you don't do the right stuff, you may only pass down like half of that. There's ways to pass down even more. Our job, especially our community, we want to make sure that our kids, our grandkids, and their grandkids have a leg up and have something to start with. So make sure that you register. Get your early bird tickets now. I cannot make more early bird tickets. So get those now. It's only $25. buildingbread.com/wealth. And I will see you guys tomorrow as we talk all things stock market. So I'll talk to you guys later. Thank you. Bye.